Hey everyone, Paul out of Sam. Welcome to part 2 of our DModels 124 4x4 Cosworth 4x4 video build. So today we're going to deal with the bulk cleanup of parts. As I say in the video, it's not the normal way I do it. I normally work on the running gear, paint it, build it, do the video. Then go back, work on the interior, clean up those parts, paint it, carry on. Because of the way I was working with this, it was easy just to clean all the parts up in one go. So that's what I did. So we're going to clean up every part in the kit today and get it all primed and painted, ready for assembly. So bit of a different way around than normal. Probably not the most interesting video to watch. But as all these videos are made, they are made that if you're building this kit, it's kind of a way to have a go at building the kit rather than a continual series of builds. That's the way I do these videos. So I hope it makes sense. It's just a different way today. It's much more efficient, I'll give it that. It's a lot faster to clean everything up together, primer it all together, paint it all together. But it does get a bit confusing in the spray booth, getting all the colours. So bear that in mind. Anyway, let's jump in. We're going to get everything cleaned up, get some paint down, and get this on its wheels today. Right then, so we're in straight away with the clean up of parts. We've got lots of parts to clean up here. The way I normally do this is deal with the running gear in one video and then the interior in the next. I'm just going to clean it all up in one go. I was sat here, I was live, I needed something to do, so I just went through and worked through everything and got everything cleared up in one go. So we start off with the chassis, the bulkheads, roll cage, and then just work our way through all the running gear, interior, the lock, all the parts cleaned up. And to be honest, it's not the way I will work. It actually worked out quite well. It got through the parts very quickly. Sanding things like this, so I'm chatting to you a lot while I'm live in the mornings. It's a pretty good way to while away the time. And it made a boring job less boring, if I'm honest. Roll cage, a little bit tricky to go together. You need to be an octopus to kind of put these things together. But just refer to your instructions, clean up all the parts adequately. And then I find put a little bit of glue on a few of the parts and gluing it together often helps. And then place it in the car in its locating holes. Don't glue it to the chassis just yet, all of the interior. And then get the top part on and glue it as you go. I tend to find if you deal with one area at a time and work your way around slowly, it's the best way to do it. That way you ensure everything's glued in the right place. It's all straight. And like I say, using the interior tub as a guide with all the locating holes is the way to do it, definitely. Like I say, just make sure you don't glue it in place just yet because you'll hinder fitting more of the interior parts later. With all the floor pan, door cards, wheels and roll cage cleaned up, I set to priming these. I primed these first, painted them, and then went to work on the other bits. We've got some Tamiya, Tamiya white surface primer here. It's been decanted, thinned about 15-20% with Tamiya lacquer thinner retarder. We've got our HPC plus I water and put a few coats down, followed by a nice wet coat at the end. The wheels get the exact same treatment. Nice white primer. After I strive for a few hours, we come in with the fire scale white that we used on the body. And we're at the end of the coat here on all these parts. So just get the final coat on. Just make sure you get all the angles, all those recesses. And on the wheels, come in from all 4 different angles and from the front as well to make sure you're getting all those little nooks and crannies. Not bad paint. Like I say, we did have a few reactions on the body, but strange. I'm not sure what happened there, but it sprays nice, dries quick. And like I say, with those all drying now, we can move on to the running gear. So lots of parts to clean up. I'm not going to bore you to death going through them all, but literally got all the running gear parts cut off here. They were all cleaned up, and then all the interior parts cut off, and they were cleaned up as well. Just want to show these window wipers. Absolutely beautifully molded in plastic. Look how thin they are. They rival PE ones almost. Very, very good. Top marks for that one. So be very careful handling thin parts like this. You don't want to snap them. And on parts like the fire extinguishers, anything cylindrical, it's going to have a seam down the middle. The seams are negligible. They're very, very small, very thin, and just need a quick run over a sponge sander to remove them. So again, top marks for the molding. Really good, high quality. Well thought out how it's done. You even get a set of headset in the car. I didn't opt to put these in. I think a helmet would have been a good idea as well. A 24 scale helmet kind of like what we did in the Lancia. But the headsets are a nice little touch. Now, I did sit there thinking, right, all these parts, and I had dozens of them, all need priming different colours. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to prime everything in grey. So all the interior and the running gear was all given a coat of Tamiya grey surface primer, a couple of light coats, and a nice heavy one to finish it off. I thought it's much easier than sitting there picking. I normally do black for metallics, black for blacks and what have you. But I just thought it's just easy. I knew there was some parts that needed colouring in different colours, reds and what have you, blues. So I thought I'll just do them all in grey. I've got some TS17 now. I'm spilling all over the bench because I don't have the colour coupling on my airbrush. And we're going to give everything a couple of coats of this. It's already had a coat already, as you can see. Like the primers, this stuff likes to go on wet, so don't be too stingy putting it down. Obviously, don't hose it on, put a nice light coat on to begin with, but just make sure your last coat is a generous coat because it does like to go down wet to self-level. Again, TS17, decanted out the can, thinned about 20% with Tamiya lacquer thinner retarder. We've got some, let me have a look what colour this is. It is LP61 metallic grey. This is from Tamiya. This is out the small bottles. And then we've got a titanium gold colour. I've self-mixed out the Super Hobby metallics. So this is titanium and gold mixed to a titanium gold colour. So that's that. And then on the disc, because we've got PE disc to go on, we're going to do stainless for the very centre. Actually, it's not, it's LP61 for the very centre. And we put the PE on later and hand brush the calipers like we have been doing lately. And we've got LP7 red for all the parts that need painting red. So we've got those towing eyes, this rear subframe thing. Yes, no pretend to know what it is. And all the fire extinguishers are going in the same red. And all the anything that's red is going LP7 basically. Keep it simple. We don't need a multitude of different reds. This will do perfectly fine. The blue we used, I think, let me have a look. It was Mr. Hobby. I think it's 323 light blue is what we used on this one. I'm following the instructions, but I don't have the X range of paint anymore from Tamiya. So I kind of got to improvise along the way. And it looked alright to me. Whether it's the right colour, I don't know. But you know me, I'm not a stickler for absolute perfection. And then we've got some Tamiya LP55 dark yellow for the skid plates underneath, the protection panels for the engine and differential. So they're given a couple of coats of that as well. Like I say, not my normal way of doing this. I normally assemble all the running gear, get all that assembled, release the video, then go to work on the interior. I literally painted everything up in one go. And it's a very efficient way of modelling. Very, very quick. We've got Tamiya LP74 brown here as well. I think it's actually buff on the, I think this is the battery box, isn't it, for the back, for the interior. And some LP39 racing white for the fluid reservoirs which go inside the cars as well. So like I say, very efficient way of doing this. Everything's cleaned up together, primed together, painted together, very, very quick. On the first aid kit, we've got some Mr. Colour 64, which is their yellow-green. Probably a little bit lighter than it should have been. All the parts were allowed to dry, and we've got some of the Tamiya enamels. This is Tamiya X18 semi-gloss black. The enamels are absolutely beautiful to brush paint with, and it is quite nice, as I always say, to brush paint from time to time. You could mask and airbrush this if you want, but I bought these enamels just for this reason. They're quick and easy to do. They dry fairly quick. They do stay a little bit tacky, so if you're going to handle things, it's not the best. But I'm just following the instructions and painting everything as it calls out. This is completely out of the box. I'm just building out the box with minimal weathering, just a wash we're going to add to it. You could go to town this kit and add wiring and everything, but for me, I'm going out the box, trying to follow the colour guide as good as I can. Whether it's completely accurate, I have no idea, but this is the way I'm doing it. A little bit of criticism on some of the parts of this build when I've shown it online. And I'll be honest, I build for me. I do. I make videos for you lot. I build for me, though. The videos are for your entertainment. The builds are for my enjoyment and sanity. I do this for my own reasons, to keep my brain focused. So I don't want negative Nancy's telling me I should have put a white stripe on. This is wrong, that's wrong, because I'm not that much of a stickler for authenticity sometimes. Painted the dashboard surrounds in semi-gloss black. With the reservoirs dry, this one requires a yellow one. So we've got the Tamiya Enamel X8. We've got a nice tight cotton bud from Tamiya. I've just dipped it in. I'm just dabbing it on over the top. That will get the fluid reservoir cap in yellow. You can just quickly wipe off any excess because we are putting enamel on lacquer, so it will wipe right off. And then the blue on this one, and you'll see how accurate this is. I'll show you now. This is why I use the cotton buds. Look at that. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. For the suspension struts, we're going with Tamiya Enamel Red. We'll pop a black wash in there later on when it's all dry. Obviously, the panel liners from Tamiya Enamel as well, so you want to drop and forget. Basically, get it in the grooves and don't wipe it out as you'll wipe the paint off. So thin down the wash a bit before you pop it on. We'll talk about this later when we do it. And that way you don't need to wipe it off. And you don't risk damaging the enamel paint. It's the downside of enamel paint when using enamel panel liners. It can react with it. Calipers were painted in gunmetal. I think it's X10 from Tamiya in the enamel range. Probably not the exact colour, but it's close enough for me. I'm not worrying too much about the discs themselves because we've got a PE for the front of them. And the door cards, these were painted in white. We painted the centre B pillar cover in white. I'm going to mask that off and paint the door cards in semi-gloss black as per the instructions. So using the Tamiya 1, 2, 3 and 6mm tapes, we're going to mask all this off. Looks like a 10mm tape actually there. But regardless, we're going to mask it all off and get some LP5 semi-gloss black down on there. Fire extinguishers masked off as well. I did mask this off with the intention of spraying it. I ended up brush painting it in X11 chrome. And the roll cage, again, you could mask all this off if you wanted. Again, I opted to brush paint it. So we're going to paint this in red on all the indicators areas in the instructions, and X18 semi-gloss black in the rest of them as well. Like I said, the enamels cover fantastic, really well. The seat has been painted in, I think we did Mr. Surface of 1500 black. I've got some of the Tamiya black textured paint now. And my little trick for using this is to get a nice thin coat on to begin with, and then bring the airbrush back. I go to about 10 inches to begin with, get a bit of a coat on, and I take it back to about 12, 15 inches and just mist it over the top. And with having such a distance to go, it dries mid-air, and I think it really adds to the textured effect of the seat. A bit hard to see there. I need some extra lighting in my booth. I need to sort some lighting out behind me. If you want to see the full effect, go look at the 12 scale Lancia seats because they look phenomenal. The carbon decal for the back of the seat, this fitted perfect, absolutely perfect. Just needed a little snip in the middle where it was kind of bunching up. Some UMP strong and extra strong got this in place, no bother at all. As I say, just bunches up there in two places, so one's there. So get your scissors under and just give it a little snip on the crease. And anywhere else that does, and then hit it with the decal solutions and just keep working it till it goes. Perfect fit though. Absolutely perfect fit. So again, top marks, top marks. And once we start getting it set in place, we can really start to push it in, switch to the extra strong to get it fully committed in place. Got the decal for the first aid kit now. Again, fairly simple. Like I said, we did paint it probably a little bit too light, but I'm happy with it. We've got a load of decals for the dashboard as well. I've also detail painted some of the switches as per the instructions using the Tamiya enamels again. Just used the enamels on a cocktail stick and just dabbed it on the buttons in the various colours. And with the decals on for the wheels as well. Didn't know what to do with these. Didn't know whether to leave them matte, 2K them or what. And in the end, I opted to semi-gloss clear them. So we get the decals in place, get them all centered, get them set in place with the standard decal solutions and what have you. And then we've got a couple of Recaro decals for each seat, one on the back of the headrest, or the top of the headrest, and one at the front of the seat as well. And again, the decals reacted great to the setting solutions as they did on the tyres as well. Some strong and extra strong got these bedded well and truly down. Very high quality decals, and then a little bit of a pin wash on the wheel nuts of the tyres, the wheels, sorry, and the centre hub We'll let that dry and wipe off the excess. So just a little bit on the brush and just touch it to the very part you want to add the wash to. And then we can start assembling the running gear. This fits together like a jigsaw, absolutely perfect. Everything lines up great. So a little few dabs of Bob Smith's Industries glue. That way you get a bit more working time. You can remove things should you wish. The instructions are phenomenal. The kit part placement is fantastic. No issues at all. This kit is an absolute joy to build. It really, really is. Definitely one of my favourite kits to build that I have over the years. It's definitely up there with my BMW M3. If you're looking for a quick mojo builder, this is the one, and there's loads of schemes out there for it at the minute. So you've got plenty to get your teeth into and keep you interested for some time. I've got another one on the way of these. I've got the Q8 on the way. I'm going to do the Marlboro scheme, and I'd also like to get the Bastos scheme as well for future builds. So we've got the front and rear differentials in, the front rear suspension in, just fitting everything in as per the instructions. Fitment is perfect. With a couple of dabs of CA glue, everything fits in. These are probably the trickiest things, little drop linkages. But just line it all up. A little bit of dab of glue, pop it in place, and again, fitment, just fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Again, anti-roll bar for the back. And like I say, you can go to town on this. There's plenty you could detail paint underneath. There are parts you could detail paint. I opted not to do them. I didn't add a wash to the white surfaces. I just did the running gear itself. But you could really go to town on this and super detail this car. Add wiring, weathering, a lot. For me, I went out the box. It was just the way I wanted to do it. P for the brake disc now. A couple of dabs of Bob Smith's again. There are two different types for this. One's front and one's rear, so make sure you get the right ones. And just pop it in place, give it a good squeeze down, and there we go. There's the discs. There's poly caps for the centre of the hubs. You can see one of them in there. So pop it in place and add a few dabs of glue around. Test fit the discs to make sure you get the correct ones. Look at the instructions, see which way the caliper's orientated. I look at the positioning lugs on the fitment parts to see which one goes where. And you can't go wrong, really. Really simple. There's the poly cap going in place. Unusual size on these as well, quite big. Like I say, some dabs of the Bob Smith's Gold. Good super glue. Takes a while to dry, so you get to move things around. If you make a mistake, you can get things off. So really good. And then with a bit of Sansador odorless mineral spirit on our cotton bud, we can get off all that excess wash. Leave behind the nice detail. And then we can add our road wheel nuts using some LP61 on a cocktail stick and just dab it on the road wheel nuts to get the impression of the tyre lug nuts. Really simple, really easy. There we go. A wash. Now, because of the large part, I've got a bigger brush. We've got some black panel liner. We've thinned it right down with Sansador, so we've got a nice thin wash. I don't want to be going over this stuff too much to remove it, so I want it nice and thin. And my motto is, if it can hold a wash, it holds a wash. Only on the running gear, so suspension struts, brakes, etc., all the drivetrain, transmission. Remember what I say, this is an enamel wash going on some enamel paint in areas, so be very careful. Don't brush over too much. Just let it dry, wipe off the excess very carefully, and you'll be just fine. Wheels, they've all dried now. We've got some Mr. Hobby semi-gloss clear now. Decant out the can, spray, thinned about 20%. We're going through the iWatt HPC Plus, about 16 psi. They've now dried. We've got a nice satin sheen on those. Tyre fitments, fantastic. They only go on one way. They fit very positively. Now, this is one thing I was criticised for in the review. Well, I wasn't, but the kit was, that it shouldn't have slicks. But apparently, Carlos assures me the stage that is this based on, this car had slicks. So that's good enough for me from Carlos. I believe him. Anyway, that's us for today. Let's go back to me. There we go. That's it. No faults there at all. The way that the kit fits together is fantastic. The instructions are great. Very clear, great colour call out. The placement of the parts is second to none. They fit absolutely perfect. Really can't fault it at all. It's a very well thought out kit. And yes, we've now got everything near enough painted. All the running gears together. We've got it on its wheels. We're ready for final assembly in part 3. And we'll get this project done and dusted. There we go. That's just done for today. As always, make sure to sub to the channel, click the bell notification, give the video a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you want. Please leave a comment. Love reading all your comments on the build. And if you want early access to this and a load of other perks, you can become a patron. There's a link down below. Click on that. Loads of perks becoming a patron. This video has been up on my Patreon now for probably 6 to 8 weeks. That's how long it takes to get them over onto ISM. So if you like early access, click on that and have a look. Loads of other perks. And there's other links down below of everything ISM and me related. All the links to everything's down there. There's an email address to get in touch with me and a link to my Scalemates when I look at my stash. So there we go. Enjoy the rest of the day, everyone. Thanks for watching. I will catch you all in part 3 very soon.